Well, hello everyone. In this chapter, we will talk about the touch information, pain information in the skin, also the senses of smell, taste, hearing, and vision. Okay, so we're going to start out with the sensory receptors. What a sensory receptor really means is the beginning part of a nerve cell. So this is the part of the nerve cell that picks up the information. So it senses the information and responds to the information. So sensation just means an awareness of stimulus. Perception, the interpretation of the meaning. The interpretation of the meaning occurs in the brain. So the general senses, skin, we're going to talk about the different receptors in the skin, touch, pain, muscle, joint information. And then special senses, we'll talk about vision. Okay, so we're going to put a big star on this slide. We have to know that these are the types of sensory receptors in the body. Know that the chemoreceptors are named this because they respond to chemicals, meaning like molecules. Chemoreceptors pick up smell, taste, also oxygen concentration in the blood. Pain receptors know the other name for this is called nociceptors. Thermoreceptors know that they respond to temperature changes in the body. Mechanoreceptors, they respond to mechanical forces. So know for this one, touch information, tension, blood pressure, and stretch. And the photoreceptors in our eyes, they respond to light. Okay, so know the basic information for each of these receptors that I underlined here. Okay, so again, the sensory receptors, these are the ends of the neurons, so you can think of the nerve endings, but really these are the parts that pick up information. Stimulation of the receptors, so what's happening is an electrical signal forms in the nerve cell, and that activates the nerve cell. And remember, the electrical signal, the other word for that was action potential. And it can also produce an action potential in the surrounding neurons. Then the peripheral nerves take that information to the central nervous system. Sensory adaptation means that you start to ignore the different senses. So it could be like sense of smell. Let's say that you smell something bad, but then you just get used to it. So that's called adaptation. Okay. Different mechanoreceptors for touch and pressure. So here we need to learn here. Free nerve endings, they sense itching, so these are in our skin. Then we have the tactile or the Meissner's corpuscles. Know for this one, it says here in hairless portion of the skin, but know that this one picks up fine touch and texture information. And then the lamellated or the Pacinian corpuscles, these respond to heavy pressure and vibrations. Alright, so here's the picture of the skin and where these receptors are. This picture will not be on the exam, but this is just to give you a reference. Referred pain, you don't have to memorize any of this, but kind of interesting to look at it. So the pain from the organs, it's not going to be felt right in the organ, but in the surrounding area. Proprioceptors, these are special receptors. They take the information about the body position, length, and tension of muscles. So the main types of proprioceptors, the lamellated Pacinian corpuscles, these are in our skin but also in our joints. They pick up the pressure information. Muscle spindles, you actually learned about this in A&P1, but so these are the stretch receptors. They initiate the stretch reflexes. And so when there is a stretching in the muscle, it causes the muscle to contract instead. Then the Golgi tendon organs, know that these are located in the tendons, and they're actually opposing the stretch reflex, meaning that they actually cause relaxation in the muscle. Okay, but the muscle spindles do the opposite. They cause contraction of the muscle due to too much stressing or stretching. Alright, so just a picture of the muscle spindle versus the Golgi tendon organ. So the left one is showing the muscle spindle there. That will cause contraction in the muscle. Then the Golgi tendon organ located in the tendon. This instead causes relaxation in the muscle. And this is done so that the tendon, if it's stretching too much, you don't want it to get damaged. And so when you cause relaxation in the muscle, it releases the tension on the tendon. And the knee-jerk reflex that we learned last semester, so this is caused by the stretch receptor or the muscle spindle in the muscle. When the muscle stretches too much, it then causes contraction in the muscle. Visceral receptors. So visceral means internal organs. So these are the receptors, so the nerve endings that pick up information from our internal organs. Mechanoreceptors, free nerve endings are some examples of these. And so the example that we can give here, after a meal, your stomach stretches because now there's food inside. And so we have these receptors in our stomach. These receptors pick up the stretching of the muscles in the stomach. So then this activates the stomach and causes contraction so that we can break down the food that we eat. Okay, so then next is special senses. We'll talk about the smell, taste, hearing, and equilibrium, and also vision, sight. Know that olfaction means the sense of smell. And so our olfactory receptors are at the top part inside our nose. So these are chemoreceptors, and they respond to the chemicals dissolved in liquids or in the air. What I want you to know here is the order of the signal transduction. So first the olfactory nerves pick up the smell information, then the information goes to the olfactory bulbs, olfactory tracts, then send it more towards the brain. Limbic system is where the information stops first, and then the olfactory cortex for interpretation. And so we're seeing here, this is the top part of the nose. So you can see it here, the top part of the nose we're looking at. So in the top part of the nose, these little parts that you see here, these belong to the olfactory nerves. So the olfactory nerves, these little cells, then send the information to the olfactory bulb. Olfactory bulb is the big part of the olfactory nerve. Then the olfactory tract is going to extend this way towards the brain, towards the limbic system first. Then next, know that gustation means the sense of taste. So we have the taste buds on our tongue. So inside the taste buds are the taste cells. So the taste cells are picking up the taste information. Yeah, so we're seeing a picture here. This picture will not be on the exam, but we're seeing here how I'm sure you've noticed that we have these little spots on our tongue. And so in these spots, if we look more closely inside, you would see the little cells that pick up the taste information. So those are the taste cells there. The taste sensations, I'll put a star on this slide here. So we've been told before when we were kids that different parts of our tongue pick up different information, but that's actually not true. All parts of our tongue have the same taste buds, and they pick up all these different tastes. So what differs, what makes the tastes different is the different receptors that open up on the taste buds. And so sweet taste, this stimulates the nerve cells by the carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates go into the taste cells and that activates them. Sour taste is activated by acids, acidic food. Salty, so this salty, sodium or potassium activates the cells. Bitter, magnesium, calcium. And then the umami is actually like a savory taste. And so an example, MSG, savory taste for umami. Spicy foods actually activate pain receptors. That's interesting, but kind of makes sense. And so then taste receptors also go through adaptation, meaning that if you keep on tasting something, then you're just going to get used to it. The nerves associated with taste. These might be on your exam. Know that facial nerve, glossopharyngeal, and vagus. All three pick up taste information.